Good afternoon, and welcome to the commencement ceremony for the Department of Statistics at UC Berkeley. My name is Ryan Tipshirani, Professor and Chair of the Department of Statistics. Before I invite our graduates to be seated, I would like to continue a long-standing tradition here in the Department of Statistics and ask our graduates to express their gratitude to those in the audience who are here today. This celebration acknowledges not only the achievements of our students, but also the support of the friends and faculty and family who have helped them reach this milestone. So let us begin with a round of applause for all the loved ones here in Berkeley and around the world. Thanking them for their love and encouragement throughout this journey. Of course, graduates, today is your day to be celebrated, and I offer my heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you, and please take your seats. Before we start our ceremony, I'd like to remind everyone that we respect both the differences and commonalities that bring us together here at UC Berkeley, and we call for civility and respect in our interactions. Additionally, any thoughts or opinions shared today by any faculty, student, or guest speakers are their own and do not represent the views of the department or the university. Today, we celebrate the remarkable class of 2026. Our department just celebrated its 70th anniversary, and graduates, you now join a rich and storied legacy of scholars who have proudly called UC Berkeley Statistics their home. As you cross this stage, you carry that legacy forward into a world that needs your expertise more than ever. A lot has happened in the last 70 years since our department's founding, but what truly matters right now is the history that you will write in the years ahead. We urge you to use the skills and insights you've developed here at UC Berkeley to be agents of meaningful, positive change. I'd now like to introduce our Dean, Jennifer Chase.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm Jennifer Chase, Dean of the College of Computing, Data Science, and Society. We're absolutely delighted to welcome family and friends here today to join us in congratulating the statistics graduates on their many accomplishments. The Department of Statistics is a cornerstone of our college, and we can't wait to see what our amazing graduates will accomplish next. You're now the newest members of a prestigious and well-connected Berkeley alumni community. I hope you'll rely on your fellow graduates as an abundant source of friendship, support, and career advice throughout your life. And we hope you'll come back to visit Berkeley soon. Our beautiful new college home, the Gateway, will open on campus this fall, and we'd love to welcome you there. Thank you. I would now like to invite Professor Bin Yu to the podium.
Thank you, Jennifer, for inviting me. So I'm Professor of Statistics, ECS, and Computational Biology. First, I'd like to congratulate all the graduates and all the family for this big day. Congratulations. It's very special. I just taught the master class, and then most of the students, PhD graduating, actually I was on the admissions committee. So it's a very special time for me to know most of you, and congratulations again. So it's my distinct honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Professor Michael Waterman, University Professor Emeritus of Biology, Mathematics, and Computer Science at University of Southern California since 2020. I met Mike when I was a PhD student here at Berkeley. Since then, he has been an incredible role model as a scholar, as a person of originality, integrity, and humility. He has also been a generous mentor and a kind friend. Professor Waterman moved to USC in 1982 after Los Alamos National Lab and Idaho State University. He grew up near Bend, Oregon, and obtained a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Oregon State University, followed by a PhD in statistics and probability from Michigan State University in 1969. Professor Waterman is a pioneer, a founder, and a leader of computation biology and bioinformatics, which uses mathematics, probability and statistics, and computer science to turn traditional biology to data-driven biology. One of the first papers I ever read on computation biology was actually the seminal Lander-Waterman paper that paved the way for the success of the Human Genome Project, that completely redefined our understanding of human biology and health, disease, and treatment. The Lander-Waterman paper developed a probabilistic model to calculate how many randomly broken down small DNA sequences are needed to put back together for the whole genome without gaps. He also co-developed the famous Smith-Waterman algorithm for DNA sequence comparison using dynamic programming, which is fast enough for DNA database search. His paper with his student Idari introduced the use of Aaron and DeBrant graphs for sequence assembly, laying the foundation for almost all modern next-generation sequence assembly software used today. Beyond his remarkable research, Professor Waterman built the infrastructure for computation biology, starting one of the first department on computation biology at USC, published one of the very first books on computation biology, co-founded a very prestigious conference called RECOMP in computation biology, and the Journal of Computation Biology. He paid many visits to China between 2008 and 2019, and helped enhance computation biology bioinformatics programs at Tsinghua and Fudan universities. Professor Waterman's extraordinary achievements have been recognized by numerous awards and honors, including the prestigious International Dan David Award for his groundbreaking work in the field of bioinformatics, and the Walter Banter Prize in Applied Mathematics. He's a fellow of the Institute of Mathematical Statistics, IMS, which he joined when he was a master's student. So, master's student, please join. And he was a Guggenheim Fellow and elected member of National Academy of Sciences, American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and National Academy of Engineering, and elected foreign member of the French Academy of Sciences and the Chinese Academy of Sciences. He received quite a few honorary doctorates from Tel Aviv University and his alma mater, Oregon State University. Last but not the least, Professor Waterman is also an accomplished writer, including a book called Getting Outside of Far Western Childhood, which I highly recommend. Without further ado, let's welcome Professor Waterman.
Good afternoon. Congratulations to the students, and I like very much that the previous speakers acknowledged the families too, because they're an important part of today also. So another round of applause. Berkeley is my favorite campus. The verticality, there aren't too many level spots. There's a beautiful stream that runs down through the campus. There are the trees, which have many species of California live oaks, California redwoods, Australian eucalyptus, and so on, and the bay views. But of course, the great university with one of the best statistics departments on the planet, so congratulations to the students again. Abraham Lincoln in 1861 signed something called the Morrill Act. And what that did was establish land-grant universities in every state. And currently, every state in the union has at least one of these. Berkeley was, I believe, the first land-grant school in California. And I believe that land-grant universities democratized higher education in America. It made it possible for kids who were not exactly overly privileged to go to a good university in their state and get an excellent education. Now, part of this, I'm passionate about this because my undergraduate school was Oregon State University, which is also a land-grant school. And I was the first in my family to go to university. And I grew up on, as Ben mentioned, I grew up on a livestock ranch in the southwestern Oregon coast. We were not exactly at the cutting edge of technology. I was in the 4th grade when electricity arrived at my house. And about that time, we stopped using horses in the fields. And of course, agriculture was way ahead of that at the time, but there we were. And my high school, all 4 years combined, had less than 70 students. So when I went to Oregon State, I was with many students who'd grown up in the suburb watching TV and had different lives. But Oregon State was a wonder to me. I probably took more English and philosophy classes than math classes. And my goal was to find a job that was not on the farm or in the logging woods. And with a bachelor's degree, I was unable to find a job. And I didn't know how to interview, but fortunately, one of the interviewers told me that it would be a waste of his time for his company to hire me because obviously I was going to graduate school. And I think without that pressure, I may never have gone to graduate school. And while I did that for my master's, I taught a full class, and after being terrified at the beginning, I realized this is something I could do. And that summer, between my bachelor's and was the last summer I spent working in the logging woods. Eventually, I got a PhD from Michigan State. And I should say this here, that after World War II, there was an incredible boom in the US economy. And at the same time, there was concern about our national strength in science and engineering. So lots of money was put into universities and research, and the NSF was created in 1950. My traineeship at Michigan State was paid for by NSF. And at that same time, though, President Eisenhower, who was not only President of the United States, but he had been the Allied commander in World War II, warned us about the military-industrial complex, which was growing then, and you can see today it's growing across to huge size. And whatever you want to say about that, it certainly benefited people like me who were able to go to school. Now, Michigan State, being a good statistics department, wanted their students to go to a good university and they really got quite upset with me. My job search was for a school in the Rocky Mountains that did not have a PhD program. Why continue doing research? I could get a job and teach, so I thought. And one of the faculty refused to speak to me at this point. He was so upset at what I decided not to do or not to do. I worked a summer at Bell Labs, and Bell Labs tried to convince me to apply, and a couple of other universities. But fortunately, I found my ideal job at Idaho State University in Pocatello, Idaho. It's the southeast corner of the state. And I spent the happiest years of my life there. There was amongst the rivers and the mountains and the sagebrush, I had incredible friends who were expert at the outdoors. And but to my surprise, I kept doing research. And I didn't quite know why, but I just kept doing it. And my advisor had a former student at Los Alamos National Labs. And a couple months support was set up for me at Los Alamos. So we spent a month camping and driving to go from Idaho to New Mexico, and that included a stay in Oakland, where somehow we had connection in a commune that was in some old rundown mansion at the top of the Oakland Hills. And my daughter, who was not quite 4 then, loved the rooms and loved all the people she was running into. And I was very well aware of publications from the Berkeley Symposium of Probability and Statistics. And I naively came down to campus hoping it was going on that summer, but of course it wasn't. So if you've seen the movie in Oppenheimer, you have some idea about northern New Mexico and the labs. What I loved about the lab was that everybody was expected to be able to explain what they were doing to everybody else, no matter how far the fields were apart. There was no such thing as too theoretical or too abstract, and just as well, there was no such thing as being too applied or too practical. It was really a fun place at that time. And there were amazing people at Los Alamos. The mathematician Stan Ulam had a big influence on me, and Nick Metropolis, and some of you may have seen the Metropolis algorithm. I knew this guy. And he was a physicist, mathematician, engineer, and in the early 50s, he created a computer at Los Alamos called the MANIAC, and I have to read this. Mathematical Analyzer, Numerator, Integrator, and Computer, MANIAC. Now, by the time I got there, it was the MANIAC 2, but it still had vacuum tubes, and programs were strips of paper with holes in them. And there were no user manuals. It was really fun. I had, in grad school, a very theoretical thesis, but I had done a simulation that really would not have been surprised if it didn't work at all, and it sort of worked. So at Los Alamos, I pushed this further, and I was incredibly happy to find that Don Knuth, the great computer scientist at Stanford, had bumped into a similar issue. And you know, when you're working off in the outskirts of something, it's nice to know that somebody else had thought of that. I spent some summers in New Mexico and eventually reluctantly decided that I should leave Idaho, which broke my heart, and go to New Mexico. And Idaho had world-class outdoors, world-class people to experience the outdoors with. Los Alamos was world-class science, and I needed to be around people who were smarter than I am and people who knew a lot about subjects I didn't know about. And I joined the statistics group, which did data analysis. And through Ulam, I began to work on problems connected to biology, and there wasn't much data at that time, not many sequences, but the idea that genetic information was encoded in a linear way with DNA seemed quite remarkable to me. And computational biology didn't have a name then, but that's what we were trying to do. And it was my hobby, which eventually took over my life. And my interest in the beginning was just to find cool problems to work on. But eventually you learn something about biology and you get really wrapped up in that as well. And later on, my work took a big change when I could walk into a biology lab, talk to people about what they were doing. Not about what I could do for them, but to understand, appreciate, and be enthusiastic about their interests. And the work I've done at Los Alamos has been mentioned. Comparing sequences and database searches got a certain amount of visibility. And with that visibility, there were increasing opportunities. And one of them came to being invited to be one of 12 people to have the first serious discussion of sequencing the human genome, which was just almost unthinkable at the time. I was the only person with mathematical training in this group. And my very naive back-of-the-envelope calculation was that given improvement in algorithms, improvement in computer technology, maybe we could assemble the human genome. There was an article about this meeting in some magazine in California, and I was described as a computer person from USC. It was not worth learning my name. Obviously, this is not important stuff. Now, there was much resistance to the Human Genome Project. A lot of people held forth about why it was a terrible idea. I collected a number of these in a folder that I may have labeled dumb things people said about the human genome. And I used them occasionally in talks, although I didn't use the word dumb, but I meant it. So the Human Genome Project did get launched in 1995, and by 2001 there was a rough draft of the human genome. Just in case you think that sounds easy, there are 2 parts of the genome that weren't sequenced until 2022, 20 years later. So this is a challenging job. But looking back at this, to have played a small but identifiable part in one of the greatest scientific endeavors of mankind, I am extremely grateful for that privilege. It's just a nice feeling. And to go from a lonely childhood with what seemed to me, when I was a kid, to be endless manual labor, to computational biology and the Human Genome Project sounds like close to a miracle, and yeah, it kind of was. But on the other hand, I just think of it as cause and effect, being driven off of that rural life to having a different life and having the training so that I could go in different directions that went on. So there was a lot of good luck tossed into this. So when a person is asked to give a speech like this, no one tells you what to talk about. So what do you say? But you look at what people have done in the past, and there are a couple of items that frequently appear. One is to talk about your career, which I have just sufficiently bored you with. And the other one is to give you advice. And I am terrible with advice. I'm afraid people will take it and then blame me. And, as we sit here, there is in this room a very large and very visible elephant, which may be autonomous robot speaking AI fluently. And what to say about that, and I'm reminded of a very old joke. Prediction is difficult, especially of the future. So I have no idea where this is going. When I was flying up from LA, I saw an editorial in the New York Times. The title of the editorial was, "Why Are Students Booing Commencement Speakers?" Now, I've bored people, as you can tell. People have been unhappy with that. I've never been booed before, so maybe it would be a new experience. But it really had to do with AI. And I think you guys, you graduates, have as good a training as you can have to step out into this world, and you'll figure it out as you go. I'd like to end with a quote from the great genius jazz musician Miles Davis. Miles Davis was incredibly creative. He started different genres of jazz. And at the time I'm mentioning, he had been doing bebop, which is very intense. And then there's an album called The Birth of the Cool, which marks his transition to a genre of jazz, which of course was called cool jazz. And the quote I'm going to give you is something I've carried around with me for decades. So this is just before he's about to go on stage in Detroit with his trumpet. And somebody says, "Miles, what you gonna play?" And Miles Davis answers, "First, I'll play it. Then I'll tell you what it is." And I think that has some application here today. So you're going to make your way in this world, and you're going to play some amazing music on instruments that some of which haven't been invented yet. And I would love to hear some of that music that you'll make. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Michael, for those thoughtful and inspiring words. I'd now like to invite Andrew Bray, Chair of the Teaching Committee, to announce the first set of awards for outstanding graduate student instructors.
I'm here to present the Outstanding Graduate Student Instructor Awards. These are campus-wide recognition for excellence in teaching by graduate student instructors. The award is based on overall effectiveness as an instructor, as evidenced by student evaluations and faculty recommendations. And every year at graduation, we have one or two of these. This year, we have 7 of these, which I'm just so proud that our graduate students have taken their teaching as, they've valued it as much, taken it as seriously as they have their coursework and their research. So I think we have most, if not all, of the recipients here with us this afternoon, so I'd invite them to come up to the stage to receive their award. And I'll call you in order here, and then you can come on up. So this year's recipients are Oliver Maynard, Ollie. Erez Buchweitz. Arissa Sadegpour. Zachary Revolinsky. Austin Zhang, Zane. James Butler. And Drew Wynn. Our next awards will be announced by Professor Sam Pimentel, Chair of the PhD Program Committee.
Thanks, Andrew. First, I'll announce the Evelyn Fix Prize. This is established in 1968, and it consists of a medal and a citation. It is awarded to the PhD student on the Berkeley campus showing the greatest promise in statistical research, with preference for applications to biology and problems of health. Chengzhong Ye is honored with this award for his outstanding contributions He's honored for his outstanding contributions to machine learning and AI methods for understanding the functional significance of genetic variants across the genome. He has shown a rare ability to move fluidly between rigorous statistical method development and impactful biological research, exemplifying the balance that Evelyn Fix herself embodied. Next, I'd like to announce the Eric L. Lehman Citation. Established in 1999, the Eric L. Lehman Prize is awarded for an outstanding PhD dissertation in theoretical statistics, interpreted broadly. And the winner of the Eric L. Lehman Citation is Do-hyung Ki. Do-hyung Ki is honored with this award for his outstanding contributions to non-parametric and shape-constrained regression, bridging classical statistical theory with modern machine learning methods such as MARS and XGBoost. And finally, I'd like to announce the Department Citation in Probability. This department citation is given in recognition of an outstanding PhD dissertation in probability. The winner of the Departmental Citation in Probability is Mringanka Basu Roy Chowdhury. Mringanka is honored with this award for his wide-ranging contributions to probability theory, including the resolutions of several open problems concerning Gibbs measure arising in diverse models of statistical mechanics, such as the Ising model, independent sets, and Gaussian multiplicative chaos. A key feature of his research is the development of robust probabilistic techniques expected to have broad applications. Congratulations to all our PhD award recipients. Now we will begin the hooding and presentation of scrolls for students earning a Doctor of Philosophy. The candidates for the PhD in statistics will be hooded by their advisors. We will then invite each graduate to say a few words if they wish. The first candidate is Mringanka Basu Roy Chowdhury, whose thesis is entitled 4 Perspectives on Gibbs Measures. He was advised by Professor Shishendu Ganguly, but will be hooded by Professor Steve Evans.
I'd love to thank my parents, my advisor, and my friends for their constant support, and Berkeley and the Department of Stats for this outstanding opportunity. Thank you.
Next is James Butler. His dissertation is entitled Advancing Our Understanding of Global Climate Extremes Through Extreme Value Theory and Open Reproducible Computing Workflows. He was advised by Professors John McAuliffe and Fernando Perez.
Wow, I cannot believe it's already been 5 years since I met a lot of you at our Zoom visit days back in 2021. I'd like to thank my parents for listening to me constantly stress dumping every week in our phone calls for the last 5 years. My partner Nate, who's been with me for the last 4 years to provide me support and strength, especially during the lows and celebrate the highs. My advisors and my collaborators who have helped me grow into the researcher I am today. The department staff for all their tireless efforts. And yeah, any family that may be watching across the country. California's been good to me, and I'm excited to see where I go next. Thank you.
Next is Young Chu with a dissertation entitled Brownian Evolution, Games, and Variational Problems, advised by Professors Steve Evans and Alan Hammond. Next is Tiffany Ding. Her dissertation is entitled Uncertainty Quantification and Incentive-Aware Design in Modern Machine Learning, advised by Professors Michael Jordan and Ryan Tibshirani.
I'd like to thank my advisors, Mike and Ryan, for modeling not only how to be great researchers, but great people. I'd like to thank my parents for always encouraging supporting me and as I pursued what interests me. I'd like to thank my cohort mates and friends for making the last 5 years so much fun. And finally, the staff for organizing this commencement and for making the day-to-day in Evans all the more filled with joy. Thanks.
Next is Jeremy Goldwasser. His dissertation is Estimating Epidemic Rate Parameters, Adaptivity, Bias, and Convolution, advised by Professor Ryan Tibshirani.
Wow, I'm so grateful to be here, and first and foremost would really want to thank my wonderful advisor, Ryan Tibshirani, as well as all of the faculty and all of the statistics department staff that have been so supportive and kind throughout these 5 very eventful years. I also want to thank my family and the broader statistics graduate student community for being a constant source of support and excitement and things to do and just wonderful presence for 5 years. So thank you.
Our next graduate is Yashuan Huang. Her dissertation is entitled Toward Trustworthy and Reliable Causal Inference, advised by Professors Bin Yu and Sam Pimentel.
Yeah, I want to first say thank you to my great advisors, Sam Pimentel and Bin Yu, and the department. It's been a wonderful journey here at UC Berkeley Statistics. 其次，我也想感谢我的爸爸妈妈、我的家人朋友，因为有你们的爱和支持，我今天才可以站在这里。
Our next graduate is Carissa Huang. Her dissertation is entitled Random Graphs and Social Networks from Theory to Application, advised by Professors Christian Borgs and Jennifer Chase.
I just want to thank my advisors, Christian and Jennifer, who have taught me to be a mathematician and a scientist over the past 5 years and for their patience and wisdom. I'd also like to thank my cohort mates, my collaborators, my friends and loved ones near and far for their technical and emotional support over the past 5 years. And finally, I'd like to thank my siblings, my parents, and my dog. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am.
Our next graduate is Do-Hyung Ki. His dissertation is entitled Machine Learning Methods Through the Lens of an Infinite Dimensional Lasso, advised by Professor Adityanand Guntubuyina.
Thank you, my advisor, Aditya, and thank you, Lashana, and thank you, Tanisha, and thank you, my dear friend, Huang, who is not here. Without you, I might have dropped out in the middle, and I couldn't finish my PhD. 그리고 사랑하는 우리 엄마, 항상 지지해주고 응원해줘서 고마워. 전화할게.
Our next graduate is Hyun-Suk Kim. His dissertation is entitled Model Aggregation, Performance Guarantees, and Loss Robust Prediction, advised by Professors Michael Mahoney and Ryan Tibshirani.
I would like to say thank you to my two wonderful advisors, Michael Mahoney and Ryan Tibshirani. I would like to say thank you to all the people that I met during my 5 years of PhD journey. And lastly, but most importantly, I would like to say thank you to my family members who are always with me and provided constant support. 저를 낳아주시고 지금까지 제가 제가 있는 동안 열심히 키워주신 부모님께 감사 인사드리고 싶습니다. 감사합니다. Thank you.
Our next graduate is Jiexiao Lin. His dissertation is entitled Topics in Causal Inference, Data Fusion, Time Series Experiments, and Matching Estimators, advised by Professors Peng Ding and Peter Beckel.
Okay, so I'm so excited to be here, and I have a lot to say, and I wrote in my dissertation, and today I'll just say a little bit. Yeah, I'm so nervous, and I have never been so nervous during the talk, but today it's so important, and let me see my notes. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank my advisor, Peng Ding, for being here today. I'm also grateful to my other two advisors, Peter Beckel from our department, and Fang Han from the University of Washington. Without their support, guidance, and encouragement throughout my PhD journey, I would not have been able to reach this milestone. I cannot be here. And then I would like to thank my friends for being here, Yuan Gao, and Yilong Hou, and Xin Yi Wang. Thank you. And then I want to thank my girlfriend, Queenie, for accompanying me for a long time and for bringing me so much happiness into my life. And love you, Annie. And finally, I want to thank my parents who travel all the way from the other side of the world for being here. Thank you for your lifelong encouragement, support, and love. I love you. OK， 谢谢我的爸爸妈妈今天能来参加我的毕业典礼，然后感谢你们一直以来的支持、鼓励，然后让我有勇气能去做自己想要的事情，追逐自己的梦想。也感谢你们始终如一、无条件的爱。虽然我们这一年呢，你们在中国，我在美国，然后我们远隔万里，但我们的心始终紧紧相连。然后爸爸妈妈，我们爱你，我爱你。Thank you.
Our next graduate is Litsong Lin. His dissertation is entitled Statistical Foundations and Algorithms for Modern AI, Contrastive Learning, Scaling Laws, and Unlearning, advised by Professors Song Mei and Peter Bartlett.
Yeah, thanks. I would like to thank my advisors, Professor Somei and Peter Bartlett, for teaching me how to do research in the past 5 years. I would also like to thank my collaborators, friends, and many others in the department for the many discussions, friendships, and memorable moments that make the past 4 years so fun and meaningful. So, and also special thanks to all the staff, especially Lashana, Tanisha, and David, for all of your patience and help along the way. And also, finally, I would like to thank my parents for their constant support and encouragement over the years. Thank you.
Our next graduate is Sijia Liu. Her dissertation is entitled Causal Inference with Post-Treatment Complications, Statistical Strategies for Intercurrent Events, advised by Professor Peng Ding.
So first of all, I want to thank my wonderful advisor, Peng Ding. Thank him for all the support and guidance over the years. And I'm also very grateful to be surrounded by so many good faculties and my friends in the department. I want to thank Sam Abi and Evan, and also Peter Bickel and Professor Ting Ye at University of Washington. And also, thank you to all my friends that are here and not here. Thank you so much for being there with me all the time. And finally, 谢谢爸爸妈妈和莫公，我爱你们。
Our next graduate is Andrew Tan Nguyen. His dissertation is entitled Advances in Statistical Inference with Multiplicity and Incentives, advised by Professors Will Fithian and Michael Jordan.
Okay, I'd like to thank my two advisors, Will and Mike, who couldn't be here, for teaching me how to do research, question my assumptions, and look at the scientific world with a broad mind. I'd also like to thank my partner, Jasmine, and my two brothers, Alan and Austin, who are in the audience and who have been here since way before, and who have always kept me connected to sort of, I guess, the outside world. And finally, I'd like to thank my parents. I remember when I told them I was majoring in math, and they were like, "What are you going to do with a math degree?" And then I got into school here. There was a lot of Googling, and anyway, I want you guys to see what I'm going to do next. Thanks.
Our next graduate is Sung-Hoon Peg. His dissertation is entitled Attempts at Statistical Understanding of Deep Learning, advised by Professor Ryan Tibshirani.
Thank you, Ryan, for being my advisor and teach me how to do great research. And thank you to my committee, Bin, Sung, and Nikita, for continuous advice. And thanks to all my friends in the United States and Korea and everywhere in the world for a long conversation that helps me go through this journey. And to my family, 할아버지, 할머니, 그리고 친척분들, 여기 못 오셨지만 항상 응원해 주셔서 너무 감사하고, 그리고 my mom and dad who are thankfully in the audience today. 엄마 아빠 덕분에 제가 이 자리에 서 있을 수 있었고 항상 응원해 주시고 많은 노력 기울여 주셔서 희생도 제가 잘 알고 있지만 많이 감사를 못 드렸던 것 같아요. 정말 감사하고 항상 두 분 건강하시고 감사하고 사랑합니다.
Our next graduate is Daniel Raban, whose dissertation is Optimal Transport Approaches to Rating Aggregation, Density Estimation, and Coupling, advised by Professor Stephen Evans.
I want to thank Steve, my advisor, and my friends and family, and especially my wife, Jasmine, for all of the endless support that they've given me over the last 5 years.
Our next graduate is Gabriel Raposo. His dissertation is entitled Asymptotic Behavior of Large Combinatorial Structures, advised by Professor Vadim Gorin, but he'll be hooded by Professor Steve Evans.
So first I'd like to thank my wife, Camila. Muchas gracias por siempre apañarme en todo, en las buenas y en las malas, y estar presente en todos lados. Thanks so much to my parents, Gabi and Pancho, who always encouraged me through this journey, and to my grandparents, Martita and Alfonso, who inspired me to pursue an academic career. And finally, I'd like to thank all my friends, especially the ones here present and the ones seeing this online, my family, all my mentors, colleagues, and support, and special thanks to my advisor, Vadim, who always believe in my success. Thank you so much.
Our next graduate will be Andy Shen. His thesis title is Statistical Methods for Causal Inference and Survival Analysis in Biomedical Studies, advised by Professors Avi Feller, Haiyan Huang, and Sam Pimentel.
You know, there's an old saying from the military, and for those of you who know me very well know I say it all the time. Mission first, people always. But today the mission is accomplished. We have our degrees. So just for today, I'm going to say people first, people always. To my advisors, Haiyan, Sam, and Avi, I'm so proud that everything we did these last 5 years can have that mission first, people always stamp on it. To my family members, both bound by blood and by love, I'm so grateful that you're here today. I'm so grateful that you support me, you call me, you talk to me, no matter what. And I don't know what else to say other than I'm just so grateful. And yeah, thank you.
Our next graduate is Chengzhang Ye. His dissertation is entitled Self-Supervised Biological Sequence Models and Applications in Genome Interpretation, advised by Professors Yun Song and Bin Yu.
Yeah, first I would like to thank my amazing advisors, Wing and Bing. I've learned so much from you in this PhD. You've taught me not only to be a better researcher, but also a better person. I'd like to thank all my friends from the department and from the Song Lab and your group. Your company have made this journey so much more fun and fulfilling. And also I'd like to thank my family, especially my parents and my wife, Aria. Thank you for your unconditional love and support. 我爱你们. And finally, I would like to thank all the professors and staff in the department for building such a great department. My PhD would not be possible without all your hard work. Thank you all.
And finally, we have Austin Zane. His dissertation is Veridical Deep Learning in Hard Regimes, Distribution Shift, Data Scarcity, and Agentic Data Science, advised by Professors Bin Yu and Peter Bartlett.
I'd like to thank my dissertation committee, namely Bin Yu, my advisor, Peter Bartlett, my co-advisor, and Avi Feller. I'm also very grateful to all of the family members who supported me throughout my PhD and came here today to celebrate with me. So thank you, Mom, Dad, my abuelitos, Uncle Joe, Christy, Isabella, James, Eva, Jack, Thomas, and Aaron. And of course, most importantly, thank you to my fiancée, Chelsea. And lastly, I just want to say that I'm very lucky to have gone through the PhD experience with this group specifically, this cohort. They're all incredibly intelligent and very good company. We had lots of good times, and I am genuinely honored to be considered their peer. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our statistics doctoral students. Now I'd like to invite Professor Sandrine Dudois to announce the biostatistics PhD candidates.
Thank you, Sam. So we now present the candidates for the PhD in biostatistics. Each will be hooded by their advisor, and graduates are welcome to offer brief remarks if they wish. The first candidate is Maggie Keying Kwong. Her dissertation is entitled Statistical and Computational Methods for Interpretable Analysis of High-Dimensional Data, and her advisors is Professor Elizabeth Purdom.
I just wanted to say thank you to my great advisor, my family and friends, both here today and from afar. Without your support, I couldn't have made it through this journey today. Thank you so much.
Next is Sridhar Shen, and his dissertation is entitled Sensor Fusion and Uncertainty Quantification for Nowcasting, and his advisor is Professor Ryan Tibshirani.
First of all, I'd like to thank my advisor, Ryan Tibshirani, for being such a singular human being and a researcher. He has really taught me a lot. And second of all, I'd like to thank all the persons who I've crossed paths with in both statistics and biostatistics for being such a good company. And finally, to my girlfriend and my family members. 谢谢你们用各自的方式包容我、支持我。谢谢你们。
Last but not least, Wenjing Zhang. His dissertation title is Targeted Learning for Adaptive Experimentation and Data-Driven Decision Making, and the advisor is Professor Mark van der Laan.
Thank you so much. First, I want to, First, I want to thank Professor Mark Vanderland, who is my amazing advisor, who gives me a lot of support, mentorship, and kindness throughout the PhD journey. I'm very fortunate to be advised by him to approach a lot of complex statistical questions in the lens of target learning framework. I also want to thank Professor Marion Peterson and other faculties in biostatistics who support me throughout the PhD journey. And this moment is also special for me because go back to 2020, I graduated from the stat department, but everything was online at that time. So at that time, I used my laptop and the keyboard to graduate in a sandbox game called Minecraft, who was built by our best neighbor computer science student at Berkeley. At that time, everything was online, but this time, I want to say thank you for all the faculties and the staff in the stats department who support me from master program to PhD program, from online to offline. Lastly, I want to thank all my parents, my family, and all my friends. 谢谢你们，我爱你们。
Congratulations to all of our doctoral students. Now I'd like to invite our master's program coordinator, David Apoladu Jr., to announce the MA awards.
Before I get started, Yang Chu was so excited he forgot to say his thank yous, so I'm going to give him an opportunity to say thank you to his family.
Sorry for jumping back to the stage again. Yeah, I was running too fast. I want to thank my advisor, Steve and Alan, for their constant support and patience in the last 5 years. And I also want to thank all the staff members and professors in the department who has always been helpful and make this moment possible. I also want to thank all my friends and my parents coming all the way from China to here today for their unconditional love. 谢谢你们，我爱你们，谢谢。
All right, good afternoon. Before we begin the MA Awards, let's give one more huge round of applause to our PhD graduates, please. Our PhD students have played such a meaningful role in the MA experience, from helping with summer prep to teaching to supporting students as GSIs to building community through Friday wind downs and so many moments in between. They've helped make this department feel welcoming, collaborative, supportive, and our MA program is better because of them. So to all the PhD graduates, I just want to say thank you and congratulations once again. That spirit of community and support and leadership is also something we deeply value within our MA program. The MA Statistics Community Leadership Award recognizes 2 students who have gone above and beyond in helping build that sense of connection and belonging for others. The first recipient of the MA Community Leadership Award unfortunately could not be with us today, but his impact on this cohort was felt throughout the entire year. Again and again, students describe someone who brought people together, created spaces for connection, and made this program feel more welcoming and inclusive. From organizing community events like Secret Santa and other cohort gatherings to mentoring students to simply being somebody who was approachable, thoughtful, and genuinely interested in others, he helped build the kind of community that students will remember long after graduation. One student shared that he was friendly to literally everyone and always welcomed conversation. Another described him as an incredibly warm person who helped foster a real sense of belonging within the cohort. For his leadership, positivity, and commitment to building community within the MA program, we are proud to recognize Abhishek Shukla as a recipient of this year's MA Community Leadership Award. Our second recipient is being recognized for the incredible impact she has had as part of our inaugural group of peer ambassadors. She became a vital source of support for prospective students who were trying to navigate the very difficult and high-stakes decision of choosing a graduate program. Over the course of the year, she met with dozens of prospective students, offering honest advice, personal insight, and genuine sense of what it means to be a part of this community. What made her especially impactful was not just that what she did, but how she did it. Her classmates shared that she consistently goes above and beyond, making sure no one feels out of place, whether that was a prospective student considering Berkeley or a current classmate working through a difficult concept in class. She created an environment where people felt welcome, supported, and encouraged to ask questions. What makes her contribution even more meaningful is that when the Peer Ambassador program first began, she wasn't even sure she would have time to participate. But she chose to step outside of her comfort zone, take on that opportunity, and truly excelled in the role. For her leadership, mentorship, and outstanding contributions to building and representing our community, we are proud to recognize Madison McDonald as a recipient of this year's MA Statistics Community Leadership Award. Before we move on, I also want to recognize all our peer ambassadors. This inaugural group helped represent our program with incredible care, authenticity, and enthusiasm throughout the year. They welcomed prospective students, shared their experiences openly, and traveled to outreach events, answered countless questions, and helped future students envision themselves as part of the community. To all our peer ambassadors, thank you for your time, energy, and heart you brought to the program. If you're here today, please stand so we can recognize you. Elizabeth Betty Scott spent her whole academic career at Berkeley and was devoted to many things, including the application of statistics to the sciences, astronomy, meteorology, and oncology, the re-entry of women to university studies, and the advancement of the role of women in academia and the master's program in statistics at Berkeley. Established in 1989, this award consists of a gift certificate for a scientific book and a citation to be given as warranted, but at most annually, to the MA student in the statistics department showing the greatest promise in statistical research. This year's recipient is someone I have had the privilege of knowing since she was a freshman at Berkeley. I still remember her coming into my office asking how she could take Stat 201A and 201B as an undergraduate, which honestly told me pretty quickly the kind of student she was going to be. Since then, she has continually challenged herself academically while also contributing meaningfully to the department as a department community as a peer ambassador and as a member of our inaugural fifth-year MA Statistics cohort. For her exceptional academic promise and commitment to the field of statistics, we are proud to present the Elizabeth Scott Memorial Award to Hannah Marie Aguilar. The Department Citation in Statistics Master's Program is awarded in recognition of exceptional achievement in both theory and application of statistics, as well as outstanding overall performance throughout the program. This is the highest academic honor we award at the master's level, and it reflects not only technical excellence, but also dedication, perseverance, and deep engagement within the field of statistics. Please join me in congratulating this year's department recipient, Joshua Wren. And now we would like to invite this year's MA student speaker to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Oliver Maynard, who will address the class of 2026.
Okay, hello. Oh, we have it here. Nice. Okay. So I was expecting to be addressing my cohort, which are behind me. So if you get any weird eye contact, then I'm sorry. I just don't really know where to look. So, as some of you know, my name is Ollie, and I've just completed the Berkeley Master of Statistics. I have here that I wrote, provided the 238 linear models grade as a feeling generous, and they were, so great. I'm super grateful to be standing up here today in front of my fellow classmates who have frankly kept me sane throughout this whole process. So, I think I'm going to start by talking a little bit about me and why I'm here, very briefly. I come from a math background. I did my undergrad here at Berkeley studying mathematics, and like every mathematician, I slipped into this kind of ghastly world because I thought I was good at calculus, and naively I thought that was a great measure of aptitude, and it definitely wasn't. As you push further into analysis and abstract algebra, you start to realize that, okay, maybe I don't really know what math truly is. But then you're a bit too late at that point, so you have to get in there and lock in. And what I appreciate was the way of thinking in this subject. So like using tools to construct, through structured logic, a rigorously defended answer. And to me, that's not just mathematics, it's applied philosophy. So when I stumbled into an upper division probability class, and suddenly my math was producing answers that were interpretable, answers that make sense, that meant something to the world, I was hooked. And statistics felt like this missing piece, and that's what brought me here. So going back to what I said, that if mathematics is applied philosophy and statistics is applied mathematics, does that make statistics applied squared philosophy? I appreciate the laughter. It's terrible, terrible joke. But I do strongly believe that our statistical work is inherently philosophical. And I think that's what I'm going to speak about today. I'm going to tell you what I mean. So over this past year, we have become people who can sit with a complex, real-world, messy problem, and not just wave at it qualitatively, but build a rigorous quantitative framework around it. The kind of mathematics that will inform modern policy, medical research, artificial intelligence, financial systems. We're now equipped to understand it, not just as a user, but at the level of its foundations. I think that's pretty extraordinary. And in building that understanding, we've assembled a toolbox of ways to see the world quantitatively. Probabilistic reasoning, inference, modeling, the ability to find a signal in noise, to know when a pattern is real and when it's an artifact, to hold uncertainty precisely rather than papering over it. But I think the most important thing that graduate level statistics teaches you is knowing when to ask a different question entirely. Not does the model fit, but does the question make sense? Because in real world applications, the central question is almost never which model is best. The better question is like, best for whom? According to what objective, under what constraints, with what failure modes, and who bears them. And that is not a statistical question, that is a philosophical one. And it sits on top of everything that we do. Because we live in a moment where data is abundant and computation is cheap. You can fit a model to almost anything. You can optimize almost any objective you can write down. And the danger isn't that we'll get the math wrong. It's that we'll get the math exactly right and answer the wrong question entirely. Think about a model that flags loan applications or predicts recidivism or allocates hospital resources. Somewhere behind every one of those outputs is a person, and it's easy to lose sight of that. A metric gets chosen because it's measurable, not because it matters. An objective gets defined because it's tractable, not because it reflects what anyone actually cares about. And that output goes on to inform a hiring decision, a loan, a clinical protocol, an infrastructure allocation. And I think that makes it pretty clear that our work touches people. And that demands something from us beyond technical comprehension. It demands judgment, and it demands empathy. Not as a soft add-on to the real work, but as a constitutive part of it. The ability to ask, whose lives does this model touch? What does this number mean to an actual person? What gets lost in the abstraction? The technical and the human are not in tension. They depend on each other. And the most important thing we can do as statisticians in industry, in research, in policy, in whatever comes next, is to refuse to separate them. That is what I believe this program has been quietly training us to do, underneath all the methods, not just to build the tools, but to be worthy of using them. And I think and hope we are, because here's what we've actually spent a year learning to do. We've learned to reason carefully under uncertainty, to say I don't know with precision. Finding signaling noise requires patience and honesty and a willingness to be wrong. And we've sat with confusion, and we've pushed through it. We've failed to model fit and rebuilt it, and we've learned in the most literal sense of the word that iteration is not failure, it is the process. That is not just a technical skill, but it's a way of being in the world. So as we leave here today, we're not here to eliminate uncertainty. We're here to act wisely within it. To ask not just whether the model works, but whether it should have been built. Not just whether the inference was valid, but whether the question was. I'm super, super grateful to have learned that here, and alongside this cohort in particular. The intellectual curiosity in this room is not something you find it everywhere at all, and I will miss it really dearly. And I'm so excited to see what everyone here does next, because I've seen how you think, and I know it will matter. Congratulations to the class of 2026, and thank you to all the family that have come out here tonight.
Thank you very much, Ollie. Hello, I'm Aditya Guntuboina, Faculty Chair of the Master's Program. I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the Masters of Arts degree in Statistics. Professor Bin Yu will present the candidates with their scrolls. These are our candidates for the Master of Arts in Statistics. We have to wait a little till they make their way around here. Oliver Maynard.
Voice by now, but shout out Anna. Oh wow! Shout out Anna, Tom, Cash, my father. Thank you so much for being here, and to everyone back home who's watching. I don't know where the camera is, but love you lots. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Should I?
Drew Rafael Galoro.
Hello, I'd like to thank my partner for supporting me this last year, my best friend of 20 years for helping me get to this point, and people in the department, Lashana and David, for supporting me in this program, and my awesome friends in the cohort who I've gotten to know over this last year. Thank you very much.
Masaki Higashida.
As a single parent, the biggest lesson I learned was you can't have it all. But sometimes excellence is not about perfection. It's about showing up imperfectly for what matters. Hopefully, my son learned a lesson from watching me as well. Thank you.
Benjamin Katsambaut.
I just want to say thank you to all of my friends, my family, and especially my girlfriend Eileen, who's here, for all of the support. I've had a great time this year, and I would do this master's again.
Quan Yuen.
I would like to thank all the departments, all my friends, and my family. Also, I want to thank Patrick and Ken for being here today. I'm very glad to have this experience.
Taylor Vassar.
Okay, hi everyone. I want to thank friends, family, strangers, cohort, everybody. Everyone's so smart here. It's amazing. And I think the world's a very beautiful place, but it's a really scary place right now. So wherever you guys go, use your brain, but use your heart and use your morals. I think that's just as important, if not more important. Thank you.
Ryan Alvarez.
Thank you to my family, especially my mom, who sacrificed everything for her kids. Shout out my little brother, Matt, and my amazing, supportive, and patient boyfriend, Harrison. I love you guys. Thank you to my friends back home and to my new friends from this cohort. We've all seen each other through the highest highs and the lowest of lows, and I'm so thankful to have walked this journey with you guys. Thank you.
Don J, Patricia Ann Holland.
Low nervous, sorry. I would like to thank my family for being here. Hi, Dad. My Nana who came from Arizona to see me walk. I know my mom is here with you and through you. And just my friends also for being my rock and keeping me sane throughout this year, and my cohort members that I bonded with. And of course, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to say, seek first the kingdom of God, and all else should be added onto you.
Destiny Ogu.
I would like to thank my family and my friends for getting me through the last few years during my bachelor's and now my master's here at Berkeley. I'd also like to thank core staff and this amazing cohort for this opportunity and the experience.
Wangale Sama.
First and foremost, I would like to thank God for getting me here. Thank you to my family and friends who are here to support me and have supported me throughout this journey. And I'd also like to thank David for being an amazing advisor and every staff and faculty in the Department of Statistics. So yeah, thank you.
Sharazad Ali.
I would first like to say, وَمَا تَوْفِيقِ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, so all of my success is due to God. I would like to thank my parents, Ina and Abba, for sitting in the crowd. I can't do anything without you guys, but thank you to all my friends, faculty, professors. Thank you to everyone who got me here. Thank you.
Arush Madela.
I'd like to first say thanks to the department and staff for this wonderful opportunity. I'd also like to say thanks to my brother, my friends, and my girlfriend for all their support. And most importantly, I'd love to say thanks to my two wonderful parents. They've provided me countless support throughout my entire life and throughout my entire journey. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without you guys. So, love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thomas Lee.
Hi everyone. I didn't expect that I have time to deliver appreciation to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank my parents and my lovely sister Vicky for coming over across the Pacific Ocean. Thank you. Second of all, I just followed the maximum likelihood estimator from our great PhD students. I was saying all the guests here, all the PhD students, some of my GSIs, thank you very much. Some of the faculty, including Professor Bin, Professor Aditya, and also Professor Fernando, and also some other professor that I probably forgot to mention. Thank you, David. Thank you, Tanisha. Thank you, Lashana. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you very much.
Kayan Tang.
I would love to thank my family, my friends, and my boyfriend. 谢谢我的家人，还有我的朋友们。谢谢你们，我爱你们。
Mei Shi Xiong.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to my parents who have supported me in the past 5 years through my undergraduate studies to my graduate school. And second of all, I'd like to say thank you to the professors and also friends met in the school. And last but not least, thank you to my boyfriend who came all the way from New York to attending the ceremony. Thank you.
Hannah Marie Aguilar.
Muchas gracias, mami, papi, y a mi hermanita Madeline también. Les quiero muchísimo. Thank you very much to my master's thesis committee, Dr. Peter Sudmont, Dr. Rasmus Nielsen, and Dr. Andrew Bray for supporting me, being incredibly kind and supportive and wonderful mentors. Thank you very much to my mentor, Dr. Isabel Serrano, for being the most amazing person that I've ever met and for believing in me when even I didn't. And thank you very much for all of the faculty and staff who've pushed me to be a better statistician, researcher, and computational biologist. Thank you very much, David, for being a wonderful advisor during my master's program, and Natalie and Denise for being amazing and wonderful undergraduate advisors. Thank you very much.
Madison McDonald.
Hi, I would first like to thank my family. I would like to a big shout out to my mom and my dad for always supporting me through anything. I'd also like to send a shout out to my best friends and my boyfriend who can make it here from the East Coast. And thank you so much to the entire SAS department, all the faculty, and especially David for being such a great advisor and making this such a welcoming environment. I'm gonna miss seeing everybody every single day, and I wanna also extend the last thanks to all of my cohort mates for making this a really enjoyable, difficult, but very enjoyable year. Thank you.
Sonia Kiskachi.
I want to give a big thank you to my cohort mates, my friends, both new and old, who came out to support me today. Your kindness and your love means so much to me. I want to thank my family, my relatives, for coming to both of my graduations now. And I want to specifically highlight thank you to my mom, my dad, my dedushka, and my boyfriend Tamer. I could not have done this without you guys. Я вас очень люблю. Спасибо.
Lila Traylor.
Hi, I wanted to thank my family and friends for all their support this past year. I am so grateful for the time I've spent here and all that I've learned and all the people I've met. Thank you.
Mara Masik.
I didn't prepare anything, so this is a little bit impromptu, but thank you firstly to all of our amazing professors and the faculty in the statistics department. Thank you to David for, as everybody has mentioned, the endless support in times when I definitely needed some reassurance. Thank you to my family, to my two sisters, both of whom share the same interests in statistics, to my dad for his emotional and technical support, and to my mom for always being my rock. And to God, thank you.
Mark Seykach.
Köszönöm szépen a családomnak, a barátaimnak, az ismerőseimnek. Akik ismernek, tudják, hogy ez az út nem volt könnyű, mondhatni nagyon nehéz volt, de megcsináltam. Lehetetlenek nincsenek. Sose feledjük, hogy Soli Deo Gloria.
Fernando Aparicio Garcia.
In Spain, we have a saying, lo bueno y breve, dos veces bueno. What is good and brief is twice as good. Well, this master's has been like 10 times as good because how is it already over? Well, thank you so much for everybody who's been here along the way. Thank you to my parents and my sisters who unfortunately couldn't make it here. Thank you so much to all my professors for your invaluable advice. And lastly but not least, thank you to everybody in the court for building such an amazing community. Thank you.
Tobias Romer.
Okay, hi everyone. I wish to thank my parents and my friends from all over, my newfound friends from Berkeley, from this department and others that have provided much needed distraction during the past year, and then my girlfriend Harriet, who came to be here from the East Coast today.
Mingzi C.
I want to thank the best academic advisor, Aditya, and coordinator, David, all giant level courses here, like from all the professors. Thank you all. And I also want to thank my best friends, my families. Thank you for your always. Thank you very much.
Dongyu Yang.
First, I want to thank this amazing faculty and all the professors here and all the David for supporting me for building this program. And then I want to also thank my friends I meet here. We had a very great journey, and we wish you all a great journey. And finally, and most importantly, I want to thank my parents. Without you, I couldn't have been here. And 我爱你们，谢谢大家。
Joshua Ren.
First, I would like to thank my parents, 谢谢你们爸爸妈妈. Thank you for always being there for me through all the challenges and milestones. And without you, I couldn't have been here. I would also like to say thank you to my friends, professors, and everyone here in Berkeley States. Thank you for supporting me. And some of you really support me, really made me feel better when in some of my hardest moments. Thank you, and go Bears!
Ying Zhang.
I may have forgotten my hood today, but I didn't forget people who helped me get here. Thank you to all my old friends and everyone I met here. Thank you to my friends Chen Chumo, Li Yunhao, Yang Jiajing, who have been part of my journey since undergrad and came to celebrate with me today. 最后我想感谢我的爸爸妈妈，还有我的弟弟，谢谢你们一直以来对我的支持还有爱，谢谢。
Tong An.
I want to thank my parents for traveling so far and never missing a single important moment in my life. Thank you to all the professors, to David, and every friend who walked this journey with me, near or far. I love you all. Go Bears!
Tinhe Jiang.
So, thank you, UC Berkeley. Thank you for all the professors and my dear friends, and especially David. And thank you for all the incredible MA cohorts for walking through such a rewarding and beautiful year together. And finally, 谢谢我的妈妈、爸爸，还有我的妹妹小米，以及我的舅妈。谢谢你们跨越半个地球来到这里，见证我的成长。我爱你们 ，Go Bears！
Jesse Zhou.
So today I just want to thank everyone who has made me here today, like my parents, my friends, and our faculty, and our colleagues, and last, myself. Thank you.
Alice Sumeng Shu.
I first want to thank all the faculty and staff in the stats department for their support, and to my amazing cohort. I truly enjoyed getting to know all of you, and honestly, I hope we had more time together. And lastly, I want to thank my family for always supporting me along the journey. 爸爸妈妈，我爱你们。Thank you.
Joy Linhai Wong.
First, I want to say thank you to all the faculty and all the professors and David. And I'm going to say thank you to all my families. 谢谢你们，我的爸爸妈妈，谢谢你们。然后还有谢谢我的姐姐。我没有办法当面跟你说这些，因为我害羞。但是我一直想说你是最棒的姐姐，我一直以你为骄傲，我也很开心能有你这样的姐姐。我知道你在看直播 I know you are watching the live video on YouTube right now. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to all my families. Without you, I cannot be there today. And I'm on to the next page of my life. Happy graduation. Thank you.
Ziyu Ge.
First of all, I want to thank you to my parents and also my grandma who say good morning to me every morning in the China, but it's afternoon in here. And also I want to say thank you to my friends and my boyfriend who fly from the East Coast to here. And yeah, thank you for the professors and thank you all the people I met here. Thank you all.
Xishen Liu.
I want to say thank you to my family, to all my friends and professors in Berkeley. 我真的特别感谢我的家人、我的朋友、我的所有老师在 Berkeley， 尤其是对安童和 Candy， 我真的非常感谢你们1年对我的陪伴，谢谢你们，我爱你们。
Chanfei Peng.
So first of all, I would like to say thank you to my family. I have been studying abroad for like 5 years, and it's my second year who has now like coming back to China to see my parents. And secondly, I want to say thank you to the professors, faculties, and everyone in the stats department. The 9 months or 1 year program is short, but our connection, love, friendship is forever. Thank you. Go Bears.
Junla Shu.
First of all, I would like to thank my family members, my relatives, and all of my friends, especially who comes here today. And then I also want to say thank you to all the amazing faculties and friends that I met here. I'm very happy to graduate. Thank you very much.
Larissa Ariola Moreno.
Ma, Pa, muchas gracias. Regina, Güera, Hugo, muchas gracias. Katia, por el apoyo incondicional, por siempre estar ahí. And my family now here in Berkeley, my family away from my family. Yeah, thank you to the department and everyone else. Thank you.
Victoria Karai.
Thank you so much to David, Lashana, all the amazing faculty and professors we've had throughout this program, and they've really, really helped support everyone, including myself, at some of our hardest moments. And thank you to everyone, all the amazing friends I've made in this cohort this year. You know, today is exactly 9 months since I met everybody at the computational workshop, and it feels like so much longer just because of the community that we've all built together. And in Farsi, I would say, Omidvaram ka hala shoma hast hamisha khub, which means I hope all of you may always be well. Thank you.
Evelina Ong.
First, to my parents sitting right here in the front row, they always believe in me even when I don't believe in myself. To my family and friends who aren't here today with me, my dog Clay at home who stayed up with me every single late night in this cohort, and to everyone in the cohort, and specifically those of you who came here with the courage to try and learn something new, I love you all.
Akansha Borgohai.
I just want to say thank you, Mommy, Papa. You're my whole world. I love you so much.
Ricardo Perez Castillo.
I would like to thank my classmates and my professors for this amazing year. Y muchas gracias a mi mamá y mi papá por su apoyo incondicional.
Eviana Pham.
I would like to thank the department for this opportunity and David for his guidance and support, and all my friends and family for being here today. Con cảm ơn ba mẹ rất nhiều vì đã luôn ở bên con, ủng hộ con và tin tưởng con. Con yêu ba mẹ rất nhiều.
Gang Yu Jo.
I would like to say thank you to all the staff, faculty, and my peers in this cohort during this amazing journey and program, and especially to my father and mother in the audience who supported me all the way. Thank you.
Xuan Hui Huang.
I want to say thank you to all of my family members. Thank you for coming here, and especially my moms and my dad and my sister. And my wife, Yuan Yuan, and would not be here without your support. And I also want to say thank you to David. Thank you for building such a great MA statistic community. And I also want to say thank you to Professor Yu. Thank you for being so supportive in our job searches. Yeah, thank you.
Chun Kai Su.
I just want to say thank you to my family, my friends, and the entire department community here. I'm so grateful and glad to be here. Thank you so much. Go Bears!
Gonyao Shu.
Shout out to my amazing friends, Van, Dorothy. Shout out to my coolest mom and dad who are asleep right now, so sweet dreams.
John Yongil Han.
I want to say thank you for my biggest support, my parents, my mom and dad. I love you, mom and dad. 엄마 아빠 사랑해요. And thank you for all the amazing faculties, Professor Bean, and all the professors, and all the people, amazing people that I met here at Berkeley. I'm really grateful for all the opportunity that I had here. Thank you.
Andy Zhang. Rei Hang Wang.
I'd like to thank to my friends, faculty, professor, all together to build this wonderful department. And second, my special thanks to my girlfriend who has accompanied me in the whole course of my master's degree. 最后，谢谢爸爸妈妈，谢谢你们的支持，没有你们，我不可能站在这里。Go Bears!
Congratulations to all our MA graduates.
All right, it is my job to bring us home. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. I would like to acknowledge the staff and volunteers who helped make this event possible. I would also like to extend my appreciation to our guest speaker, Professor Michael Waterman. You are all invited to an informal reception in the courtyard just outside of Hertz Hall. We ask you to keep the aisles clear and wait until the graduates have exited before leaving your seats. But before I conclude, I have one final bit of instruction for the graduates. Graduates, please stand and move your tassels from the right to left. I now present to you the class of 2026.